It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Hey, today I want to get on my Sharp interactive board. I got my magic pen in my hand. I got all the OEM logos up there. Folks, it's time to recap the OEMs. What in the world are they doing? I mean, we're like 16 months into this pandemic. 2021 is almost at the halfway point. What the hell's going on? I mean, when you read the OEM's financials, when you listen to their aspirations, it kind of seems like nothing even happened. I mean, maybe they're just trying to prepare in secret because, you know, Rico taught all the other OEMs something. Don't go out and say anything that could be anything negative about anything to do with print, because if you do that, you'll have to go on a worldwide tour and tell everybody you made a mistake in the way you said it. So, I mean, that could be what's going on. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what the hell are we doing? Back in March and April of last year when the pandemic first started, we all knew that there had to be consolidation, right? We all knew things had to happen. What's everybody waiting for? It seems like we're in this waiting game and nothing's going on. And when I read the financials, I'm a little bit scared about how they're describing the future. It's a little bit scary, to say the least. So without any further ado, let's get on the Sharp board here. Let me get my pen working. I got all the logos up here. I do have to add a name of a manufacturer. I forgot to put it up there. It's Fuji. You know, Fuji, they want to come to the Americas and the EMA. They're all excited about it. I will tell you this, if Fuji comes to the Americas and the EMA and they don't come with some kind of an arrangement with already current distribution, they will take HP's place in the award for the most delusional OEM. I'll have to have a whole nother award show and award that to Fuji. But ladies and gentlemen, I believe Fuji probably will get back to Xerox. I mean, let's be honest. COVID makes for strange bedfellows. You know, Fuji probably calls them up. You know, all right, we got mad at each other. You know, that was before the pandemic. A whole lot of things changed, Xerox. And, you know, quite honestly, Xerox isn't doing anything to go after any other A3 OEM that we can see anyway. I mean, I really wanted to do that thing with Konica. Remember, I was talking about that. Let's buy out Konica's direct operations. The ad backs would be off the chart. You could do some crazy things with that. Instead, what happened? Konica decided to shed direct operations. By the way, that's a new acronym for the imaging channel, SDO, shedding direct operations. So Konica decided to shed some direct operations. They've shedded 9 so far. We don't know how many more they're going to do, but I assure you they'll be doing some more, probably in the next couple of weeks or so. But Xerox needs an OEM provider, right? They need Fuji. Fuji needs distribution. Xerox is the biggest dealer in the world, a $7 billion dealership, right? That's what they are. You know, Xerox did some things with Lexmark, with their financial business. That is one thing Xerox did. Xerox went ahead and came up with 3 different companies. They got the innovation company, they got the software company, and they got the financial services company, those 3 different companies. So they're kind of doing something. They've already said they would finance Lexmark, and Xerox got together for the financing part. Hey, Lexmark will finance all your rentals. I'm pretty sure Lexmark will give Xerox the A4s they need. Fuji gives them the A3s. Xerox is pretty much set for OEMs, right? But ladies and gentlemen, think about Canon. What are they talking about? You know, you read your financials, you listen to their aspirations. You know, they have direct operations. Are they going to be following in the SDO category? Will they be shedding direct operations? I talked about that before. I believe they probably will. Why will it work for them and not Konica and Rico? Rico, they went through that process, the SDO process, shedding direct operations. You know, Canon, they'll talk about their document management softwares and some softwares they have that they sell. But ladies and gentlemen, you know, I talked a little bit about this yesterday, but everybody needs to think about this. This document management software that the imaging channel sells that was built on platforms like in the year 2000, 2015 even, they're clumsy, they're old. Are there better ones out there is the question. I mean, I think about Box and all these other software applications that live and breathe in that SMB space and the enterprise space that have nothing at all to do with the document imaging channel. Will the document imaging channel get beat at that game, is my question. And even if they participate in that game, will the pricing be so low that end users don't even need that type of distribution to get it? Will it integrate with their software solutions and their business processes without having to have complex setups? These are things that I believe are going to happen in that space. The document imaging channel space is going to get pressured by innovation. And those that deliver it like it's still the year 2000 are going to struggle at best. HP, you know what? They did some things. Well, I got to do this. They're the delusional A3 people. But they also came out with the Amplify contract over the COVID period of time. Boy, that went over really well, didn't it? A lot of people don't like it. You know, talked about that the other day. Now they got shareholders suing them for stuff. I mean, you know, HP just, here's the deal. They think they're the best. You know, currently, if you looked at their print business and their supply business, they would be the biggest in the space, but that's a currently. And so we'll see what happens. They did go down to Foxconn, the people that own Sharp, and they said, hey, will you make our equipment? We want to move it out of China. Got out of that, gave it to Foxconn. It'll be interesting to see what Sharp, Foxconn, and HP, if any of those relationships merge. We'll see what happens. But you know, when I think about Sharp, and you know, until Sharp, I got this interactive board, I started really studying Sharp and looking at Foxconn a little bit deeper, because I was never really bullish on Foxconn even keeping Sharp. But folks, you know, I say something a lot of times on the end of the day with Ray, and this is what I say. I say the end users are trying to keep information behind glass more and more, right? I mean, we all know that. They use their iPhone, their laptop, their iPad, their interactive board, their TV on the wall. Well, isn't Foxconn like the best at glass? That's what they do. And so as more workflow processes, as more of business practices stay behind glass, isn't Foxconn positioned quite well to kind of own that space? And by default, that makes Sharp an interesting play. As the office completely changes, it becomes more digital. Folks, when I started imagining the possibilities, my head almost exploded. I'm thinking of the conference room wall that's an interactive board, not just an interactive board that's 70 inches. I'm thinking the desktop that's glass that's interactive. I'm thinking the coffee table in your house that's interactive. The stuff we used to think about and see way in the past, remember? Remember those magazines that would show the future? Folks, this stuff's coming real now. The mirrors, we already see the mirrors in the hotels that have the TVs in them. So will there be more applications that Sharp distribution channel can sell? Very interesting to think about. I think about my friends over at Toshiba. You know, Sharp went to Toshiba. They bought those computer bit things from them, right? Hey, we're selling Toshiba computers now. Of course, now they're Sharp computers, right? Well, we know Toshiba Tech got an offer from a private equity group in Europe. When the private equity group buys Toshiba, the conglomerate, will they get rid of Toshiba Tech? Will they spin them off? Will they call Foxconn? Will it merge with Sharp? Who knows? Ricoh, you read their financials, everything's kind of seems the same. The thing that they did that I talked about a little bit yesterday was taking their IT services business and mix it all up with the copy business. I think that's a big mistake. I think it's a huge mistake. What are they going to do? You know, I wanted Kyocera and Ricoh to get together. I thought that would be a good marriage. We got to have consolidation. Why not? Kyocera could give Ricoh the A4 product lineup they need. They could take their technologies and their patents they both have in inkjet stuff and figure out a better way to do that in production. There's a lot of things they could do. You know, our friends over at Brother, well, they're the A4 people. They'll continue doing what they're doing. You know, they're positioned for the future already. Just like our friends at Lexmark. When the whole world's moving from A3 to A4, if you're Brother, you're probably in a pretty good position. We'll see what they do. Epson, you know, folks, I got to be honest with you. I think Epson has the A3 sickness, the same thing that HP has. You know, they decided to come into the A3 space with their products because they figured that'd be the only way they could get the attention of the dealer network to sell them. And the problem is, they haven't really moved the needle. Not to any degree, right? They're not knocking it out of the park with dealers. I mean, did they merge? I think they ought to just get together with HP. I've said that before. I mean, they're both obsessed with A3. Just get together in your obsession. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you can see clearly on the board that there are some possibilities. Possibilities become probabilities, and probabilities become realities quicker than ever. But, boy, something's got to happen, you would think. You know, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to do a video on production and industrial print. Canon, Xerox, Minolta, Ricoh. I'm going to look at those organizations' production and industrial print business and talk a little bit about that because that space is way oversaturated. Way too many players for the demand in the marketplace. And it'll be interesting to see if any of those folks merge together in that capacity. But folks, we know there's got to be consolidation, right? What are the OEMs waiting for? Because, ladies and gentlemen, we also all know this. Status quo is the killer of all that will be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.